Yo, what's going on with it, bro? So I got a good one for you today. So we talking about politics and Jesus again. And this time we still got D1, but now you got Bryson Gray. And Bryson Gray, um, for those who don't know, he's changed his views. He's went from Trump to becoming an independent. So he's not voting for anybody anymore. And I believe that he's going to give his reasons for why is that in this video. But this is a pretty lengthy one too. So I'm going to go ahead and tap in. So let's get to
There you go. Bryson Tiller. What's up, bro?
What up, broski?
My G, man, it's great to formally meet you, bro. For people who don't know, we this ain't no pre-existing friendship or relationship or collaborator type of ship. So great to formally meet you, my brother. And yeah, man, real talk. Where you at in the world?
I'm in Tennessee. I'm at the house right now, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh, you're in Murfreesboro.
Yes,
Heard that. All right, yeah. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Man, look, this is not supposed to be able to happen, bro. Like what they're seeing right now in this divisive world that we in, B, it's not supposed to happen to where we are able to get on a live together and be cordial and be respectful to one another and have different political views, but still, model that that it's possible for us to not be at each other's necks and all that stuff, man. And I see so much of that going on in the church that I wanted to kind of.
And again, that's another narrative that they keep pushing to say that we can't do this. People have been doing this for the longest and having uh, many friendly conversations behind this, not just because people approach you and address you and want you to give reason as to why you're doing what you're doing and why you are telling other people that we should follow you, or we shouldn't vote Donald Trump. Um, that's not people being divisive. It's just people asking you why you doing what you're doing. But the truth of the fact of the matter is that for some, accountability feels like attack. You know what I'm saying? Or it feels like divisiveness. But we got to be honest to say what Jesus said. He said that he did not come to bring peace, but he came to bring division. So, I mean, these are real deal issues that we're looking at when you look at the Democrat side. We talking about um, demonic things. We talking about things that are just totally antichrist, that are just totally not of God. And when you're talking about what's on the Republican side, I don't necessarily like to call Donald Trump a Republican. I just like to call him a businessman. But when you're talking about the things that the things that he pushes, um, they're not they're not against the Bible. They're not against the betterment of people. People somewhat just look at his personality and say he's not fit for America. But again, bro, that's a narrative that's being pushed to say that we can't have these conversations. Now, don't get it twisted. We have seen people lose friendships over this. People disown one another. People fight over this. People kill one another over this. So that is a real deal thing. Um, However, these conversations been happening way and long before these two came together. So
To make that possible to hopefully set a precedent and an example for people out here, man. So thank you for agreeing to be on here, bro. And this is gonna be a fire. This is gonna be a fire discussion, man.
Hey, bro, one thing I will say, and I said this on my live last night, bro, I appreciate you doing this because a lot of other people, like a lot of other Christians that supported Trump, like in the past, a lot of times they were blackballed. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, now I'm getting blackballed for no longer supporting Trump. But when people like me and Tyson James first got into Christian rap scene, we were viewed as I remember one Christian blogger called us the stepchildren of CHH or something like that. So yeah, yeah. So the fact that you're not like that, like I saw you with Topher last night, and you didn't get angry because he had a MAGA hat. You know what I'm saying? You know, I like that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I refuse to be more political than I am spiritual. And at the end of the day, we got one enemy, and that's Satan. You know what I mean? So,
And what's crazy to me is that um, Bryson, to me, would be a political rapper. Um, I leave it right there for now.
I'm not a person that's gonna lose focus of that, and I'm not gonna turn either political candidate or any political candidate or party into an idol. You know, I'm not interested in being a part of any type of cult or anything like that. So, and just the whole politics game. You know, there's politics in everything in life. There's politics in the hip hop industry, and I've just never really been a person to play the politics game. I just always played the authenticity game, and it's gotten me pretty far in life. And I actually love, and a lot of people can love and appreciate where I'm at. And so it's too late to start playing that game now, bro. So I am particularly interested in talking to you because,
And meaning that he hadn't done his homework or his research to actually know the issues that's going on. Um, that's all. That's all that's saying that's saying to me. We're too it's too late to be playing a politics game. It's not too late to understand the issues that's actually going on and what's actually being pushed on to people. If Kamala gets in office, real blood, real tragedy, real hurt, real torment, issues that's actually not being addressed. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you say we ain't playing a politics game, but you know, are you actually doing the research? Are you actually getting the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding that you need of what's actually at stake here? Uh that's the thing behind the thing, so to say.
because we got something in common, bro. We both been we both been boy, we've been getting it for the past week, man, from people. You know, online on the receiving end of people being outraged by finding out. So your situation different than mine. On my end, there's this precedent that I've seen being set to where when people find out that you're voting for one person or the other person, that person's following gets really, really, really angry with you. They feel like you're a sellout for some reason. And, you know, they either just feel like, I got to delete all your music from my library or I got to unfollow you. So I've seen that this past week with a bunch of people who found out like, wait, you're not voting for Trump? Like, wait, you said that you're going to support Kamala Harris? Like, how dare you? Da, da, da. You, on the other hand, I'm going to let you speak to it, but what happened this past week with you, dog?
So, clearly, a lot of people that follow me know I was a huge Trump supporter. I used to walk around with the MAGA hats in the hood and all, like, you know what I'm saying. I was known, but I actually created. I'm the father of what they call MAGA rap now, and because I had songs like "To Go Super Viral," I had songs on the Billboard charts. That was in support of Trump. But if you listen to them, I'm talking about the Bible in them always. You know what I'm saying? And but if people actually listen to what I've said and the reason I started being a Republican anyway, it was all due to my faith. And the two biggest things for me was LGBT and abortion. And Obama, you know, people don't remember in 2009, Obama wasn't really pro-abortion and he was against he was against same-sex marriage and things of that nature. And then when he got reelected, he just flipped the script. You know what I'm saying? On things like that. So I was like, I don't like this. And then when I started looking at the Republicans, it was like, we support traditional marriage, we against abortion, period, point blank. So I was like, yo, this is where I belong. Now, could have been maybe, you know, part of it is me being short-sighted, part of it is ignorance. Sometimes you got to live and you learn. But I mean, when we look at the scale now, Donald Trump just had a speech today, sort of bragging about how a lot of states are going to go more liberal on abortion and things of that nature. So the vaccine was the first thing with Trump I didn't like. Then he hosted an LGBT party at his house and said he's going to fight hard for the gay community. And then he actually criticized the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, for the heartbeat bill. He said it was too harsh, it was terrible, things of that nature. I just couldn't do it anymore. This is not the first time I've been sort of canceled by a lot of like only Trumper people, but I lost 8,000 followers on Instagram this week because the reason is a little bit worse for me because like a lot of my followers were heavy Trump supporters. So when I come out like, nah, I can't rock with them, they like, I'm deleting your music from the MAGA playlist. I can't rock with you. Go vote for Kamala. Are you being paid by the Democrats? You know, the typical stuff. So that's how we got here.
That's how we got here.
So my thing to that would be, so this guy who still stands for biblical values and morals and things of that nature, you would completely just say, all right, I'm done with that, for this person over here who's for trans kids, who's for full-blown LGBTQ everything, who's for abortion up to infanticide. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I'm like, nah, I don't agree with everything that Trump does, but I do understand that there's a, so to say, a diversity in this thing. I put it like this: I just can't go and make people trust God. Now, yeah, we can say to make abortion should be a federal thing, and I don't disagree with that. But nonetheless, I also understand that, if that's an issue that's on the table, so to say, I just can't make a person say, no, you can't do this. Um, that's crazy to me.
I hear. Wow. So a big part of what your base was built on was I'm a MAGA rapper essentially, and so for that, I feel like you are. So does it make you feel like some people only supported you as a rapper because of who you were supporting politically?
Yeah, because people actually like a lot, not all of them, because a lot of my fans, people that support my music now, they kept supporting me or they continue to support me because if you listen to my lyrics in any of my songs, even the political ones, I'm talking about the Bible, I'm talking about God, I'm talking about like that's the main basis for all of my music, and it always.
I believe the reason he had it in the first place was because he was more of a political rapper than he was a Christian rapper to begin with. And I'm just being honest. That's the take that I've always had about his music. Seem more uh, Old Testament type of beat you on the head type of rap. That's the type of that. I'm just being honest. That's the type of style that I got um, from his music, bro. I'm just being honest.
Always has been. But when you lose all these followers and have all the people delete your music, it's only because you didn't listen to the lyrics. You didn't care about the lyrics. You didn't care about the talent. You didn't care about the quality of the music. All you cared about is that this music was speaking favorably about Donald Trump. And the reason I say that is because I think I told you this on the phone. But like, look at the Amber Rose situation. Amber Rose said publicly in an interview she supports Satanism. She said she thinks Satanism is logical. Amber Rose supports abortion with no restrictions, right? But Amber Rose was allowed to get on that Republican National Convention stage, and everybody hyped her up, and everybody said she's such a good person because she put on a MAGA hat, not because she came to Christ. You know what I'm saying? She's still an atheist. She said in an interview with Candace Owens, not because she changed her values. She has the same exact values she had when before she started supporting Donald Trump. And they praise her, they embrace her. Me, on the other hand, I haven't changed my values at all. Everything has stemmed from the Bible. Everything sticks with the Bible. And I've been saying God first. But because that's them same values caused me to put that MAGA hat down. Them values doesn't matter to them. Now I'm an enemy. I'm paid by the Democrats because even though my values stay the same, I'm no longer a Trump supporter. So that shows you that they don't really value somebody, living a life for God as much as they value supporting Trump, which is sad, but it is what it is.
Wow.
Well, see, I have to argue then that you were the one who made Trump out of an idol, then, brother. And I'm just being honest, because we didn't step into I believe a lot of people didn't step into this thing just saying that Trump was a man of God, or that anybody who came from that side and came to this side um were people of God or expected perfection out of them. The major thing is that in terms of policies and what's best for America overall is the major thing that we're all looking at. I feel like, hey, if we get even close to what's biblical, so to say, and when you look at a lot of the Republican Party's beliefs, um, or on the red side of it, a lot of that does align with the Bible. I feel like if you get, say, 70 to 80% close to it, then you have the ability somewhere down the line to be able to change some of the things that you don't agree with, so to say, you know. And if we don't, that doesn't mean that we still don't have the opportunities aren't there. But if you're going way left with it, you close the door on those opportunities all around. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I do think it's still about making room for, if if we talking about true diversity, you also have to make room for Satanists, Hindus, you know what I'm saying, people who don't believe, because you can't just exclude them and just act as if they aren't a part of America. You know what I'm saying? Um, but the fact that they will agree with things that are more biblical than unbiblical, although that's why they're not making that decision. They might be making it because of their pockets. They might put it like this. So the Republican Party, I believe it's in 1854, somewhere around the time, or we can just say the Union, Abraham Lincoln. So many people told us that they fought the war because to end slavery, when that wasn't necessarily the case. They fought the war because of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. They was trying, with the slave owners, they were trying to expand the economy, so to say, of slavery into different lands. Well, the problem with that was that you would be now taking the opportunities of the freedmen who would be able to work in these places. So what I'm saying is that a slave owner, say he owned a couple acres of land, and you had a freedman coming on looking for work. Well, the slave owner is like, well, I don't have to, uh, hire. I'm not going to hire him I, uh, because I don't have to pay my workers that much. I can get I can get cheap labor out of my workers, and I have to pay you more, so that's cutting into my pockets, that's cutting into my profit. And a lot of people fail to realize, for me, when the war was fought, um you had some people who were fighting over slavery, you had some people who was fighting over economical positions, and you had some people, and there were other reasons for why people were fighting. So it just wasn't because of the moral issue, so to say, of slavery. And so it was people all in this fight. It was people all in this fight for different reasons. I say the same thing today. You have people all in this fight for different reasons. Nonetheless, still with the opportunity provided for the Bible to be preached, we still had an opportunity to minister to these souls because we still have that freedom. Now, nonetheless, Christians can thrive under whatever, so it doesn't matter. Christians can thrive under socialism. We can thrive under authoritarianism. We can thrive under totalitarianism. We can thrive under dictatorships. We can thrive. We can thrive under it all. But to truly, not to truly, but God does want us to be able to minister the gospel freely. You know, he does want us to be able to minister the gospel freely because he didn't give his son just for anything. He gave his son so that the whole world, he gave his son so that we would all have a chance to eternal life. You know, so I think that that's something that we have to keep in mind. If again, if you just get close to what's biblical, about 70 to 80%, shoot, even 60%, you still have that opportunity freely and openly to minister the gospel, to talk about the stuff on social media, to talk about the stuff on the airways, on the news and the newspapers, on TV and movies and stuff like that. And right now, we seeing that especially on news stations, the name of Jesus is getting blotted out of a lot of these conversations, a lot of these, um, it's getting blotted out. But to be able to speak that stuff freely and the truth, the gospel, that those who don't repent and turn to Christ will be dead in their sin and separated from God for eternity, bro. That's a different type of thing, and that's what the Lord wants going out. And so again, we just got to look at. I feel like we got to look at what's actually being pushed here. What's actually being pushed here.
Wow, because the focus needs to remain on God, and everyone that is in the body of believers is unified. Supposedly, everyone is unified about the fact that, hey, we submitting our lives, our time, our talents to God. We are striving to be like Jesus Christ, and that is absolutely what life is all about. Like that's literally the purpose of life, is to be as much like Christ as possible with everything we do, knowing that we're gonna fall short, knowing that we need his grace, knowing that we need to repent. But that is literally our main goal in life. And then all these other things, careers and elections and just stuff we get off into, habits and side hobbies, all that stuff is cool. Those are parts of life. But our chief purpose is to go ahead on and make disciples while we're down here, and to work on our heart. So with that being said, bro, that's just something to where what I have identified is that there are a few things that seem to be detrimental to the body of believers. See, you even have people in here right now who, in essence, they have made either political candidate into their Lord. You know what I mean? Like they've made the candidate into their Lord. And they won't say that, they won't admit that, but they definitely have done that type of stuff, and it's just throwing things out of whack. So the goal of this type of convo is just to recenter everyone to realize, like, you got people from now till election day that are gonna be like, yo, my goal is to try to convince you to vote for who I am voting for. And if I can't do that, then you are an op. And and the state of mind that I'm just trying to get the body of Christ to be in is that no, we're not each other's ops. Like we are literally not each other's.
I would say the goal is to get you to see Jesus in the policies. It's not to see Jesus in the politicians, but Jesus in the policy. Now, again, he continues to make these statements to say that people are making politicians out of their Lord. I think that's somewhat of a deflection to not actually talk about why he's voting for Kamala Harris because, again, with 26 minutes in, he still hasn't given reason as to why. He hasn't told us why we shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. So I feel like that's a deflection, for him to not really give the reasoning behind that.
Other's ops, because our discernment, our understanding of these issues, these people, these personalities, these policies, like everything that goes into a campaign and a person, the level that we trust these people on or believe them on, like all of that stuff, their consistency, all of that stuff plays into if we want to vote at all. Number one, some people just not gonna vote at all, or who we choose, or who we just choose to vote for. With that being said, it's just emotional intelligence, B, that I'm trying to show people, and I think you're exuding a good bit of that. We're actually both having to exude emotional intelligence to where, you know how many people would lose thousands of followers in a week, which both of us have experienced that. You know how many people would be like, wait, whatever I gotta do to get them back.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's just by any means, just come back home,
Listen,
baby, please.
Listen, I'm gonna give you an example, bro. And a lot of people find this guy controversial, but and the reason I lost these followers and what made me speak out more about this is not the first time I've been canceled by Trump supporters. But there's a guy named Kyle Rittenhouse that everybody knows they call him a murderer, but in reality he was defending himself. He got shot at, but he came out and said, because of Trump's stance on guns, I can't vote for him anymore, and I'm writing in Ron Paul. Now, if people look up the definition of democracy or look up the definition of republic, it's essentially the same definition almost. Is the people controls the government and we select representatives. So when you vote for somebody, that person is through politics representing you, and it's your decision to do it. And when Kyle Rittenhouse said he was right there, Ron Paul, the vitriol that I've seen take place on the internet, and people, you got Trump supporters saying, I wish he was found guilty, like really like taking it to new levels when I've watched these people begging for pictures in real life. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then he called me, Kyle Rittenhouse called me, and he was like, bro, what do I do? And I was like, I mean, you know what I would do? I'm doubling down. This is how you really feel. If you feel this is an informed decision, you double down. Or if it's too much for you, because the internet ain't for everybody, I say just leave it alone. It'll blow over in a week. You know what I'm saying? And because in his, he a young kid, he like 20, and he was just so like, he was so shocked by how many people hated him over that. And so I got off the phone with him, and like 5 hours later, he came out and apologized, bro. And the same people that were saying you should have been found guilty, they said we can stop attacking him now. He got back in line. Like somebody literally tweeted, a popular person really tweeted, "You got back in line, Cal. So we're good now. I'm gonna stop attacking you." And when I saw that, bro, that like, I don't know, bro. That did something to my spirit, because it's like, y'all, there's no way to describe this outside of it being a cult. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I can't believe he just voted. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, let me come out and pretty much re-say what I've already said multiple times. I'm not voting for Trump or Kamala. Now what? And then you see what happened. I got attacked. But see, the difference is I'm not like Cal. No disrespect to Cal, but I'm not Kyle Rittenhouse. You know what I'm saying? You're not about to bully me into changing my opinion, bully me into changing my views. But that I ain't like that in my spirit. That's not righteous at all. And most of these people claim to be Christians.
Man. I think that when we get to the point to where as Christians we are doubting another person's Christianity, I've heard the term people being satanic, like, oh, if you voting for this person, you satanic. All of this political party, they're automatically satanic, like da 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 da. I've heard a little bit of everything this week, and it's really opened my eyes to the fact that I don't think people take pride in the fact that, like, as Christians, we have such a strong foundation to be unified together, and that right there would be so empowering as we go out and fight against our common enemy, which is Satan. But we have a fractured body, you know what I mean? We have a fractured foundation, and because of that, it's like we're not as powerful when we're fighting against our one common enemy, because we're actually not even all fighting together against that common enemy. And in your lifetime, B, have you seen anything other than politics that has been more divisive inside the body of Christ?
Outside of theology differences, which has been happening since the beginning of time, outside of that, no, not like this. I mean, there's always been, politics has always been polarizing. But Trump himself is such a polarizing figure. So like him or not, he is a polarizing figure. You know what I'm saying? And then the Democrats are getting polarizing too, because they're going further and further and further. The furthest left you can go. So I think it just makes it like that much more polarizing. But as far as like things outside of theology, I can't even think of anything that's as polarizing and as divisive as like politics has been. And to be fair, just to be like very transparent, I've said in like early songs that you can't be a Christian and vote Democrat. You know what I'm saying? But what's funny is that's one of the reasons I said I can't say stuff like that. Watch Trump host LGBT parties. Watch Trump, you know what I'm saying, compromise on the life of the unborn, and then continue saying that, because that's called hypocrisy. So,
wow.
Yeah. So when I see people say, here's the thing: if somebody's putting their faith first in their vote, and they say that, it's cool. But
So I definitely got to chime in on that. So Trump has already said that he is against abortion. Now I'm gonna say this: Trump, we don't necessarily know if he's a saved man or not. You know what I'm saying? We um we don't know that, and so I'm not putting that out there. Um, and I'll say we see people like David in the Bible, who was a murderer, who was an adulterer, and God still said David was a man after my own heart. Some translations will render David a rapist. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the adultery that was committed. I'm gonna make this short, but when remember he had more than two sons, but the story was about his two sons. So one of his sons raped their sister. The other son went to his father, went to David and said, "Yo, this is what he's done. What are we gonna do about it?" David didn't do anything. Will people take David not doing anything about uh, his son raping his daughter as well? David may have raped, I think it was Bathsheba. But that's speculation. But nonetheless, he was an adulterer. He was a murderer. God still said David is a man after my own heart. Um, I'm not because Trump hasn't necessarily came out and said he was a man of God. I'm not necessarily expecting his views to be righteous, so to say. But he did say that he was against abortion, and now he did ban it federally. He gave it back to the states. But again, I go back to what I said. I'm not expecting his views to be so to say righteous on that. But he did say out of his own mouth that I am pro-life. I am against abortion. He said under three instances, which was incest, which was rape, and uh, the life of the mother. You know, as opposed to Kamala, who's for infanticide. For me, I think that that's something that a Christian can choose, that Christian can come to some kind of agreement about. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like, I think it'd be crazy for us to sit here and act like if our wives got raped, so to say, Lord forbid, but and she got pregnant, that thought wouldn't be in the back of our minds um to abort the child. Now my wife and I have had this discussion, and my wife and I agreed that we would go through with it, whether there was a rape, whether her life was on the line, because her life is on the line giving birth anyway. Um, but we believe that in all, it's for us to trust God, and this is another obstacle, is another faith step, faith walk, faith leap of step of faith, excuse me, to be able to trust God in and grow our relationship with Him even more. But some people might not necessarily be there. However, I would talk to a person, talk to them in that to say, well, here are the chances. Here's what things look like if this happens for you. If you were to abort this child, um, then this could you have a high chance of ovary cancer. You have a high chance of not being able to give birth again. There are many complications and things that come with this when you do something like this. I think that if doctors or abortion killers, baby killers, um, and there are a difference. I'm talking about doctors that actually help give birth, and then the doctors that abort the babies. I call them abortion baby killers. But if they actually sat down and talked with these women and discussed with them what the negative effects to abortion, I think a lot of women would change their mindsets about doing it. But of course, the baby killers, they don't. There's more money into their pocket. So of course, they're not going to be honest to tell you, to tell you those type of things. But again, to act as if Trump it is just full blown abortion now. And I'm not saying that he said that, but it can be taken that way. It's totally off. And also with the LGBTQ thing, Trump said that he's in support of the LGBTQ, but not in the way that Kamala is. So Kamala is pushing LGBTQ to basically for us to accept them, to infringe upon our rights. You know, it's a civil rights kind of thing for us to believe their lifestyle is right. And if we disagree with that, then persecution, fine, penalties. And Trump has said out of his own mouth that I'm, I have no problem with LGBTQ. I'm not necessarily disagreement with that, but I'm not for you pushing. I'm not for you overriding religious beliefs. I'm not for you pushing your beliefs upon religious organizations, religious freedoms. So I mean, I can't argue. I can't argue with that. Our faith is still being considered. That's the thing. Our faith is still being considered. So with that religious freedom, we get to openly preach that. We get to openly preach that. Again, at the end of the day, whether Kamala is elected or whether Trump is elected, Christians still thrive. Christians still prosper. However, we still want, put it like this, don't nobody want to get persecuted, bro. Although the scripture tells us that that's a good thing, we're not opening the door to that. We're not opening the door to being killed, get our heads chopped off, see our children die. And so at the end of the day, we know ultimately that our freedoms come from God. But while we're here, we want to be able to freely give the gospel for as long as possible, and until thy will be done, and um that is what we can avoid when they really start cracking down on Christians. Hey, it is what it is. Let's go with it. But for now, while we still had a fighting chance to walk around here freely and profess our faith openly, um I'm gonna vote for that. I'm gonna vote for it every time. So I mean,
But if you are voting for Trump, knowing that he supports these things, you make up excuses like, well, he's doing it because he has to appeal to the left, or we have to win. You can't win being completely against abortion. Then that's called a compromise, and at that point, you lose the right to say anything to a Christian voting for Democrats. At that exact point, you understand that Trump supports these things also. May not be as much as Kamala Harris, but he supports it also, and you say and you justify that, I don't want to see anybody like that then saying you can't be Christian and vote Democrat, because that's hypocrisy.
Wow. Man, my grandpa, rest in peace. He he used to say, I'd rather be a sinner than a hypocrite any day. And he used to always say that. And, you know, that.
Rest in peace to your grandpa, bro. But they are the same thing. They are a hypocrite is ultimately a sinner, you know. And like I was saying about and what old boy just said, Bryson Gray, and I'm doubling down on that. You know, Trump has said out of his own mouth that he doesn't he is against abortion. He is against abortion. And the three aspects of it. And I believe the reason that his stance is where it is because the three aspects of it. Well, what if a woman is uh if a woman is raped or incest or her life is on the line. Well, I think he stands where he stands because of those three instances. Now, if he was more like me or so to say Bryson Gray in that, he might leave it federally. But I think he thinks about those three things, and many people do, you know. And again, as far as LGBTQ, he's already stated and said that he's not for them. He's not for them. And I'm just gonna paraphrase, but he's not for them pushing their beliefs or overriding religious organizations in terms of their beliefs and basically their rights, basically infringing the rights of religious organizations, all in favor of the LGBTQ. So I mean,
that never really set in until recently when I was thinking about that, and I'm just like, yeah, like he just didn't want to have to sit with that in his spirit, knowing that he was totally contradicting something that he said he stood for, you know, just to keep going on for whatever reason that, you know, that people become hypocrites because they don't want to look a certain way or they don't want to have to go back on what they said in the beginning or whatever. But he is like, I'd rather be a sinner than a hypocrite. And I think some people get comfortable in that space. Ideally, we won't be sinners or hypocrites. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal. But yeah, but I've been thinking about my grandpa a lot this week because that's definitely something he used to say. Man, I think we got 89 days left until the election. And bro, I can just, so my phone, you know how when your iPhone get like overheated or whatever, it says like, I don't know if your phone ever got overheated and it tell you it's too hot right now, whatever. Like my phone don't feel like that right now. My phone is very cool, you know, and I'm assuming yours is. But bro, I can feel some of the heat coming from just like some people, unfortunately, even people that are watching this right now, because there is just such an emotional attachment and such like vitriol and anger that comes along with people being like, how dare you? How could you say this about who I'm voting for? Or how could you choose to vote for this person? And whatever that is that then causes people to make these assertions about your spiritual character or make these assertions about what you believe or what you don't believe or if you're a fraud or not. Whatever that is, be like, I promise you, the Lord put it in my spirit that it's just like, hey, there is a way that because we know who died for our sins, because we know what eternity is going to look like for us, because of the decision that we have made to, you know, give our lives back to Christ and whatnot. Because of that, there is a peace that we shouldn't be like shaken from. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't, and it shouldn't be nothing. It shouldn't be something that just happens on a day-to-day. You know, if you ain't got a relationship with God, somebody step on your fresh new white kicks, your Air Force Ones, like we call them G Nikes in the water. Somebody step on your new G Nikes, you ready to throw your whole future away behind like, man, what? Or somebody disrespect you or call you out your name or something. But it's just something about like, I actually feel bad for that person who's harboring all of that negativity and all of that hatred in their heart, because I know that, yo, this person might have stepped on my shoes. This person might have called me the N-word. This person might have, you know, did this to me or backstabbed me in this type of way. But they did even worse to Jesus, and look how Jesus responded. You know, it's just something about having that relationship with God that makes it to where it's like that that sense of overheating, you know, metaphorically, or just that sense of like vitriol when it comes to something like somebody's choice of who they want to vote for, or who they express that they are feeling more inclined to vote for, or who they're not voting for. In your case, who they're not voting for this election. It just shouldn't have that stranglehold on people, man. And uh believe it or not, nothing that we're saying tonight, this isn't meant for me to spew or to advocate for, like, here's why I'm making a case and I'm campaigning for this person, or I'm campaigning against this person. And this ain't you doing that either. This is just them seeing the representation of two brothers who, when they think of me or when they think of you politically, they already have a candidate in their mind, or they already have a viewpoint. I'm independent. What you identify as at this point? Republican?
Nah, I mean, I'm independent. I've actually been independent since January of 2021, after January 6th. Because I was somebody that was there in DC on January 6th. And I think right after that, Donald Trump held a speech, and he like sort of threw Jan 6ers, like people that was there, under the bus. And I said, okay. I said independent, because that was after the vaccine stuff, and I was getting to the point where I was already like criticizing it. And then but I was still at Jan 6. I felt like that election was kind of weird. But then after that, Trump sort of threw the people that was there under the bus to save his own behind. And I was like, yeah, so I take my part of the independent. Like, I still wasn't 100% off the Trump train at that point, but I take my part of the independent. And I'm like, let me just, so I was independent before I was a Republican. And then I was Republican, then I became, so I'm independent right now.
So yeah, we both the independent gang. You heard me? I grew up Democratic. I mean, just by default, growing up in New Orleans, Ninth Ward, my family just black family. Hey, everybody just Democrat. Oh, that's the Democrats represent us, the people who don't have a lot of money, and da da da. And you just hear that growing up, and it's like, oh, word, okay. But then getting older and getting grown, it's like, nah, I can't get down with all of the policies of the Democrats by any means. I absolutely can't. And then I look on the other side when it comes to Republicans, and I'm just like, same thing. It's like some things I really rock with about the Republican policies, but some things I don't rock with. So it's just like, I don't want to be bound down to any one of these, parties. And I love the fact that we have the freedom to not have to be either one of those. But
we're free to do it, ain't we?
Won't he do it? You heard me? Won't he do it? So there's a comment, bro, that I just wanted to
any
comment on. Yeah, any comment. Yeah, it was a comment I saw, and this is just a mentality. So it's certain mentalities that I think it'll be healthy for us to be able to do away with moving forward, or just grow from. Somebody said Bryson got like 3 albums that's pro-Trump, and now he's switching up. The brother who said this is acting as if we don't have the free liberty in life to evolve, to grow, and to say, yeah, I was once rapping about this, I was once advocating for this, and I was gung-ho, and now I have grown, and based on where I'm at, this is where I currently stand, this is what my music is about. And to even make a comment like that towards you, and I'm like taking up for you, I'm just like, to the brother that made that comment, like, that's an unhealthy way of thinking, bro, about artists. When we say we want artists to evolve, we're talking about evolving from maybe the glorification of stuff that is overtly like y'all overtly literally glorifying murder in your music, glorifying drug dealing in your music, this type of stuff. When you're holding it against somebody for where you used to rap about Trump, but now you switching it up as if that's a bad thing, like that's I think that's sad. I think that's
so. I'm saying it was funny, right? And this is why I said this earlier. Ask that person to say some of my lyrics from my verses. If he go read the lyrics from the same albums he's talking about, you hear Bible verses, you hear God, you hear Jesus, you hear me saying abortion should be illegal, you hear me saying homosexuality is wrong. You hear these things in all of those songs he's claiming. So I didn't change. My
I think the reason he keep saying these things is because he know he was a political rapper. It was more he was talking about Republican issues, and we know Republican issues are more are the LGBTQ or are the um or are the abortion. That those were the things that he was those are things that he was talking about majority of the time was LGBTQ abortion, LGBTQ abortion. Um and I'm not saying that he, speak about racism in terms of or hatred from one group to another, because that's the major thing that I see is hatred, and I see it more from melanated people than I do people with less melanin. Um, but at the end of the day, that's not to say that I don't know that I don't, that it's not on both sides. Um, but my stance on what's actually ruining ruining the country is the hatred that we're allowing to go forth from melanated people, from black people to white people. Let's just say that for now. And if we don't address that in terms of the gospel and and telling people that there is no Jew, there is no Greek, there is no male, there is no female, there is no free, there is no slave in Christ, but we all are one and we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And I think at the end of the day, failed. We failed the gospel. We haven't properly preached it. But you don't hear a lot of these rappers talking about it. Those are the things that they're not touching up on. Now, again, I'm not saying that America is just this God God glorifying country. You have people say that the foundations was built on slavery and it needs to be freed from that. It needs to be purged and purged and everything like that. But I would I would beg to say or differ to say that there were all kind of slaves and there were all kind of slave owners. There were black slaves, there were white slaves, there were uh, white slave owners, there were black slave owners. And slavery started from an economic standpoint. It didn't stem from a skin color standpoint. It stemmed from an economic standpoint, and we see that the idea of it came from Africa. And we see because there they were enslaving people who looked exactly like them, but it was all from an economic standpoint. So whoever had the bigger tribe until the smaller tribe was the ones that became overtaken. And let me take it back to say it necessarily came from Africa. It was definitely something that has been going on since the beginning of time, but it was heavily practiced in Africa. And I believe that that's uh, possibly where Europeans, I ain't even gonna say that. I was gonna say Europeans got the idea. However, we do see that it was heavily practiced in Africa. Um, and we even know through I think it's Barbary or Barbary, but the Arabs, they were slave owners of white people. And so, but it was all from an economic standpoint. So now we end up switching over, having to shift over to skin color now, to where now people see somebody who has a darker skin as less than because what resulted from uh, slavery and the slave trade and things of that nature. But nonetheless, again, for us to not talk about the actual issue, which is hatred towards one another because of the lies that we've been told when it comes to America and slavery and things of that nature. I think that we miss there's a bunch of misinforming because there's a bunch of misinformation, and it's for a nefarious agenda and goal in place. So I think that's the place that we have to start ultimately.
My stance didn't change. I was just under the perception that Trump shared those values. But as we see, Trump will change his values any day of the week whenever he needs to get some votes. And right now, he's trying to get some moderate and liberal vote. So Trump has said out of his mouth, he's trying to please more moderates. So Donald Trump changed. And I can prove Donald Trump changed. Nobody can prove I changed in my stance. The only thing that changed is Trump no longer shares my values. So why would I continue supporting him? I think that should be, I think that should be common. I think that should be common sense. Like if I know somebody and they was a man of God, they became complete atheist, you can't then say I used to listen to his music, so why am I criticizing that person now? No, I'm criticizing him because he had values I shared, and then he switched and flipped on those values. I reserve the right to say something at that point, or not say that if I don't want to, but I reserve the right to stop supporting that person. I'm not a slave. I'm not on a Republican plantation or a Democrat plantation.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, bro. I love that. So, yeah, man. In a nutshell, I think that we in a space, we in a time to where people just, whether or not we see the fruit that come from something like this, we are modeling something that is all too rare in this world that we currently live in terms of this type of dialogue, this type of being able to explain where we stand or where we don't stand, and even letting people know that no matter where a person's, like, for example, if a person is still voting for Trump, and I gotta ask you this, if a person is voting for Trump, although you aren't voting for Trump, do you have any judgment, hate, or vitriol for that person currently?
Nah. I just talked on the phone with Forgiato Blow earlier today, and he's heavy Trump. Me and him disagree in the text message. I'm not a text message, but on the FaceTime, him had a little debate, but we laughed about it. You know what I'm saying? And, we talked about God a little bit, and then we went to the next thing. Topher is voting for Trump. I was just having dinner with Topher last month, and he had the MAGA hat on. You know what I'm saying? And so you know what I'm saying. My dad voted for Joe Biden in 2020. I disagree with his reasons for voting Joe Biden, but he did vote Joe Biden. My mama voted for Joe Biden, and she definitely not voting for Kamala Harris this time. So it's just like, I can't have hate because some things I see. We can have a conversation and I can disagree or agree about it, but I'm not gonna just flat out, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna flat out. It's like I still got homegirls from back in the day. They all in on Kamala. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be like, I think that's kind of crazy, but you know what I'm saying? We still laugh it up and chill on the phone.
Right. So that part that you just said about your mindset towards people that are voting for Kamala, that's something to where I think that was important for people to hear as well. Me personally, I feel very similar to that. There are a bunch of people, and I see them in the chat. They are infatuated with Dee-1. Why? There it is right there. They just
look. So I was just about to say it.
AI. You heard me? And I ain't talking about Allen Iverson. It's AI. You heard me? Dee-1, why are you voting for Kamala? Well, what I'm going to tell y'all is this. I did this last night with our brother Topher. You heard me? And we had this talk, and that mode lasted an hour and a half. And I spoke over and over multiple times about my decision and why I have chosen to do that. So that information is there. That is not something to where I'm gonna be held down to every time somebody, because clearly if somebody's asking me that, it's because they disagree with that decision. So every time somebody wants to know, it's like, oh, I gotta be held down to answering your question right on the spot. Yo, I have said that answer multiple times. And if you don't, the video from yesterday is still up on my page. So let's see if y'all really care about the answer that much to where you'll go listen to that video.
He never gave the answer. To save you all the time, he never gave the answer. He just said he doesn't believe Trump. That was it. That was all he said. Still not enough substance behind it. And again, I'm not somebody that's fishing for an answer. Honestly, at this point, I could care less. But again, my thing is, if you sitting across the table from me and you telling me to not vote for Trump, I need a reason why. And that's the whole. That's the initial video that started all of this up. The initial video that started all this up was him saying that he was voting for Kamala Harris, that he was saying that he said, Christians, fellow Christians, we can't vote for this man. He was pointing at Trump. He said the goal is to be like Jesus. He said, I don't disagree. I don't agree with all the Democrat policies. And he said, we can't vote for this man right here. And so my thing, if you sitting across the table from me and you come and make a public service announcement like that, I honestly believe he probably did it for his album. His album was coming out, so just to um, kind of get some stuff generated around his, around his name. Um, but if you telling me that, I'm just asking you why, brother. That's it. If if you don't want to say that, then just say that. But just to say that you don't believe him, okay, fine. But you told me not to vote for him, so why are you telling me not to believe him? That's the thing again. But that's gaslighting at its finest. And I said that in my last video with him and Topher. He just doing a whole bunch of gaslight. He not really giving the reasons to why I believe, because when he knows, I don't think that he's really um, educated upon what's actually going on. And so when he actually uh, speaks real reasons, as if he ever reasons as to why he's voting for Kamala Harris, those things gonna get torched. And I think that. The real reason I believe he's not sharing it is because even the thoughts in his mind, when you line it up with the Bible, the thoughts in his mind, he can't find anything to justify that, even when he thinks about that. And when it comes to the Word of God, so that's what I can come up with. But he ain't ever gave a reason.
And look at that video from yesterday, which was a dope convo with my boy Topher. Let's see if y'all will do that. And here's my thing to y'all. Regardless of if you agree with my reasons or disagree with my reasons, it shouldn't make you question if I am sold out for wanting to be like Jesus, and if I am really a Christian, and if I am a man of God, and all of a sudden, if all of the fruit that you can see from my life and from my walk, if those really exist and all that type of stuff. That's what it shouldn't do. You know what I mean? By no means is it meant for you and I to have to, and I'm talking to the comments, for all of us to have to agree on every single issue. There's people in here that are going to vote for Kamala Harris, and they are looking at everybody that's talking some Trump stuff, and they're just like, y'all can miss me with that, and I don't get it. Like for till the ends of the earth, I can't understand why anybody would be voting for Trump. And same thing, you don't owe them an explanation of why you want to vote for Trump. Like it's literally on you.
But that's the thing. I can give an explanation and I can back it up biblically, and I will give that explanation because I do believe that I owe that to my brother in Christ or my sister in Christ for them to be informed about that. That's the thing. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of giving the reasons behind it. I'm not ashamed. Trump is pro-family. He's against abortion. He's not for the LGBTQ pushing this stuff. He's not pushing this LGBTQ stuff on us like Kamala Harris anymore. His policies actually help America, actually keep America first, the people in this country first, to help us out first so that we can be able to help other people. It actually puts more money into our pockets. He actually wants to stop the sexualization of kids, CRT, critical race theory being taught in schools, trans kids, castrating kids, cutting off breasts and cutting off uh you know genitalia. He's against that stuff, bro. Who in their right mind wouldn't be for something like that when the other is. Like again, I can speak on that, and I'm not afraid to, and I want to, because I want people to know what we're up against and who's actually being targeted. It's the kids. That's the major thing that I'm concerned about at the end of the day, bro. It's the kids being targeted in this. Those are the ones, because there's a saying that goes, you can tell the state of a society by how it treats its most vulnerable. And if we allow Kamala to be the president, then this country, by her policies, will go to ruin, because the way that they treat the most vulnerable in society, what they're doing to the most vulnerable in society, is ridiculous. It's horrible. It's saddening, bro. By the way, Kamala is anti-God. She's anti-Christ. She's not the anti-Christ, but she's anti-Christ. She's against the cross. She will persecute Christians. She put over 1,000 black men in jail for small crimes when it came to marijuana, while saying that she used to smoke marijuana in high school in college, while listening to Biggie and Pop, although those albums weren't even out at the time. I mean, to me, it should be a no-brainer as for a Christian. We do have freedoms. We do have freedoms, but in Christ, I do believe paths have already been set. God did say, I ordered your steps. Now, of course, God gives us free will. Same case with Adam and Eve. He gives us free will. But I do believe he gives us free will to see if we will choose him. That's the thing about that free will. He gives us free will to see if we actually love him. It ain't free will to say, oh, well, it's my freedom to do whatever I want to do. Because again, with Adam and Eve, he gave them free will, but the thing in that was, I'm giving them free will to see if they will actually choose me. And if we don't choose God, we see the consequences are always dire. They always leave us in detrimental situations. And this, I believe, is no different. If we don't choose God in this, I believe it's a detrimental situation. I may be wrong, but I doubt it.
And if you choose to express that publicly, then same thing. If you express that publicly, people can agree or disagree with you saying it publicly, but it's still your choice at the end of the day. I think people want to take away the choice part. You know what I mean? I know some people are not pro-choice when it comes to the issue of abortion, but it seems as if people are not becoming pro-choice when it comes to the issue of just voting for who you want to, you know what I mean, for your own reasons. Like it feels very much like people are like, no, you got to justify this, you know, or else if it's not a reason that we agree with, then you are wrong. And you know, this is the last thing I'm gonna say, B. I've heard the word what's the word, rebuke and correction used when it comes to people's response to finding out that you're voting for somebody who they're not voting for. I've heard a lot of Christians utilize the words like, yo, well, this is just a rebuke and it's a correction. You know, this is like correction. And it's like, that's what we're not going to do, is act like a person can be rebuked or corrected for something that is literally their free American right to choose to vote for who they want to. And if you disagree with it, that's why you have that equal American right to go and vote for who you want to. So when people start to use words like you're being rebuked or you're being corrected. It's just like, oh boy, here we go.
So this is the crazy thing. People say that to me, and I sort of echo, not echo, but I sort of said something about this earlier. If you are voting for Donald J. Trump, you cannot make any type of rebuke for anybody voting for Kamala Harris. And I'm about to say it again. Somebody asked me, if anybody in the chat want to know why I'm not voting for Kamala Harris, the issues of abortion, the issue of LGBT, the issue of the vaccines. Ask me why I'm not voting for Trump. The issue of abortion, the issue of LGBT, and the issue of vaccine. Because what people do is when I bring up the same things about Trump,
which are totally different.
Trump, they say, well, it's not as bad as Kamala, though. That's what they say. Trump wants to allow abortions up to 15 weeks. 96% of abortions happen in the first 13 weeks, which means Donald Trump supports 96% of abortions. And then they say, but Kamala's abortions all the way up to birth. Okay, an extra 4% of abortions. So Kamala Harris is only 4% more pro-choice than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a pro-abortion candidate. And if you in this chat, you believe abortion is murder, you are voting for a pro-murder candidate. So your excuse for trying to rebuke somebody else for voting for Kamala Harris can't be abortion. It can't. You lose. Let's talk about the LGBT. Kamala Harris is super LGBT. I agree. Donald Trump hosted an LGBT party at his home, and he spoke at it and said, I'm going to fight very hard, pause. I'm going to fight very hard for the gay community. That's a quote out of Donald Trump's house. Donald Trump said he wants to decriminalize homosexuality across the globe as if he's, something, whatever. Donald Trump said Bruce Jenner, which he called Caitlyn and he called her. He said, by the way, I'm not calling him her. I'm just quoting Donald Trump. He said she can use whatever bathroom she wants to use in my house. So my point is, if you are voting for Trump, knowing these things, but your excuse is he's the lesser of two evils, that means you are admitting both sides are evil. How can you think you're in a position to rebuke anybody for their vote? That makes no sense.
They ain't gonna like that, B. They ain't gonna like that. Look, they ain't gonna like. Look, boy, them.
Still talking about policy, bro. At the end of the day, still talking about policies. If he wanted to go back to what Trump said again, and I already said it earlier, so there it is. I let him talk.
Them comments is switching quick, boy. Them comments is turning into, well, it's just running left and right. It's just scattering. It's like, well, we gonna redirect this energy to Dee-1. Well, you just shouldn't vote at all. Or it's saying, well, hold on, you're off, like da. Man, they don't like hearing that.
Bro, I did a live last night because every time I do a live or post anything, you got the MAGA in my, and I'm not saying MAGA is a negative term. I used to be MAGA, but I'm just identifying the group. Maybe in my comment sections upset or in my live stream upset. So last night, I asked, I said, do y'all think you can be a Christian and justify voting for Democrats? And they said no. I said, list your reasons, and I'm gonna write them down. They listed their reasons, Dee-1, and it's exactly what I said. It's abortion and LGBT was the main two reasons they said you can't be Christian and justify voting Democrat. But then I said, that's interesting, though, because then I showed them the things I talked about with Trump. You know what they said? They moved the goalposts. So it's not about that anymore. It's about, well, he's not pushing it as much. And it's like, that's not a rational or logical reason. It is if you're not attacking somebody else for having their vote. You know what I'm saying? Then you can be logical. The fact that you're attacking somebody else from the same perspective you voting for Trump, but you justify make up excuses for it. You're just not in a position to do it without being a hypocrite.
Wow.
What about the kids though? That's the only thing that they can't leave out. Because I understand there are things that I don't agree with Trump. I'm open to say that there are things that I don't agree with Kamala. But when we're actually looking at, again, I'm not talking about the kids being affected, the kids being indoctrinated. So you're allowing to put people in office who's going to indoctrinate these kids to basically tell kids that they can be a man, they can be a woman, and that's the thing that we have to cut, that we gotta stop. Because if you allow that, then you're going to see a loss. And it's all, I mean, it's already here, whatever you want to say. But you're going to see, I can't think of no other word but to say a lost generation, a just a deviant, depraved, godless group of people. You know what I'm saying, bro? That's the thing for me. If we're putting people in judicial positions, a woman who's letting pedophiles get off, who's letting pedophile, who's giving, who's just smacking the wrist of pedophiles, giving them small little sentences for committing depraved acts on children. And go look up, I think it's Kentaji Brown, but go look up how she was letting these pedophiles off. Just go look that up. But for other people and other crimes, they were getting harsher punishments. Well, that same person, a judge, can't tell you the definition of what a woman is. First and foremost, you're a judge. Second, you're a woman. And you can't tell me the definition of a woman. We don't need you. We don't need you in positions of leadership. If you're a teacher, your job is to educate these children, not indoctrinate, educate these children. Not on critical race theory, basically telling them that if they're black, they don't have privilege, and if they're white, that they're racist. Your job isn't to teach kids that. Your job isn't to tell kids that one day if they feel like a dragon, or one day if they feel like a boy, if they feel like a girl, then that's what they are, and they can identify with whatever they want. That's not your job. We don't need you in positions of leadership. It's not functional for leadership. We don't need pastors telling people, just picking up pseudo-therapy, psychotherapy books and not the Bible, and teaching them and saying things like Jesus was racist, or Jesus was a sinner, or that Jesus was wrong for 85% of his life. These are the people in places. These are the people that are in positions of leadership, who are leading, are people who Kamala agrees with, who Kamala stands for. So I'm about common sense. I'm about decency, bro. That's the thing for me. I'm about common sense and decency. Let's put fine leadership back into the places of society. They all don't have to be believers, but as long as we're teaching decency, which is respect for one another, and as long as we're coming to do our jobs and not basically pushing our beliefs on other people, I'm fine with that. Again, I still have the right. I still have the right to express my faith to somebody who may question that openly, and that's an opportunity for somebody to get saved. But for me to be deemed as evil because of what I believe, and to say that my belief in the Bible is totally off, is corrupt, is wrong, and that's oppressing the people, that's what's going to cause that's what's going to cause people to turn away from that. That's what's going to cause a godless generation. That's why I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. Why I'm voting for Trump, regardless of his beliefs and how he feels in this way or that way. Ultimately, I understand that he's using common sense. I understand that he wants to put people in places that's going to put out common sense, that's going to help actually build people and create a better economy. The only way you create a better economy is by putting people who know how to use their minds in the places a lot of these people that we put in position. If you're a judge and you're a woman and you can't tell me what the definition of a woman is, you need to be in a mental institution. If you're a teacher and you're teaching children and you're reading sexual content to children from sexual books, you need to be either in jail or you need to be in a mental institution. Look at what the White House has become over the last 4 years. Trans this, gay that, this that, all over the place. Trump's presidency didn't look like that. But that was all over the place with Kamala and Joe. You had people found crack in the White House or cocaine, whatever you want to call it. People having sex in the White House. You had a transgender woman, a man, showing his boobs on the lawn of the White House. Tell me we're not at a place of indecency right now. At what's supposed to be the most prestigious, most prominent, most respected place in America. That wasn't happening when Trump was in office. We actually had some respect and dignity, and countries actually looked at us and respected us and feared us. Not fear is so to say scared of us, but knew that, hey, if we step here, we try to do something, we know them Americans coming. Because Trump stood on some principles. So folks can miss me with what they trying to talk about, bro. I'm educated. I'm educated upon this. I studied upon this. Now I'm not saying I know everything. There are a lot of things that were brought to light to me, especially with what Bryson said. But at the end of the day, I've done enough of my research and education to know that what one pushing is actually for the detriment of this to tear this country down. So folks aren't swaying me. I'm still God all the way, but that still stands for me. I don't see how you can call yourself a believer and vote Democrat, knowing the stuff that they're pushing with everything that I just said, knowing the stuff that they're pushing, and the people that they're trying to put in positions of leadership to do what they're doing to the children. If you can't answer me that, bro, you really ain't got nothing to say. You're not gonna change my way of thinking unless you can actually answer that.
Wow. So yeah, they ain't gonna like that, because what that's doing is all of these people in the comments who just are like, let's just call a spade, because I love all of y'all genuinely. Like I don't even know most of y'all, but like I rock with y'all. I have no reason not to rock with y'all. But those of y'all that are so mad currently at Dee-1, look, and you got some that saying you could have kept your vote a secret, D. No, we not playing bully ball, my brother. This ain't something to where people who want to vote for Trump.
I'm done, bro. I'm done, man. Look, let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace, love. I'm out.